Let's explore the flavors of Raisin Mead.
Okay. So, yeah, we made Raisin Mead. Lots of raisins and some honey, right? It started on September 23rd of 2020. Today is December 28th, 2020. So that makes it 10, 11, 12, 3 months old. Like 3 months and a week, right? From making it to drinking it. That's important to remember. Just pour a little taste here. Now, this is not chilled. This is room temperature, which is important to know. We started doing that for our tastings now. And the reason for that is when you chill a beverage, it can change the flavors. You can turn off flavors, things like that. So we wanted to get the full effect. So we're doing it at room temperature, which in our house is probably about 72 to 73 degrees Fahrenheit for those interested.
That said, that doesn't mean this is the proper way to drink this beverage. The proper way to drink this beverage is however you like it.
That's right. There is no wrong way. Well, I mean, I suppose upside down might be difficult, but it's not necessarily wrong. It's just not easy. Moving along.
Color.
It's got a lovely honey.
It looks
color.
like a typical.
Looks like mead.
Mead color. Yeah.
It really does. I don't know how well you can see that. It's a straw. It's not really very orangey.
Yeah.
It looks more orange in the bottle. It's more of the straw, like golden color, which I'm going to attribute that mostly to the raisins. I would think the honey doesn't add a lot of that kind of color. On the smell, I smell the raisins. I smell honey. It's got a lovely bouquet.
It has a lovely bouquet. That's exactly what I was thinking when you said that.
I happen to have the original label here. Now, this has lemon zest in it and orange blossom honey. So there should be a pretty good hit of citrus in this as well.
I smell...
I thought I smelled it. That's
why. A bit of the bright citrus notes. That just makes it.
Yeah, it didn't smell like orange to me. And I was like, did we use orange in this one? It's orange blossom honey, but it's lemon zest. I think that really worked. That's nice.
It's the kind of aroma that prepares your mouth. It's like, okay, I'm ready, and you can start
salivating. Desserty. I will say that.
What's the word? Salivating. Salivating. Yeah. Yes, I'm salivating.
It does smell desserty. And as I recall, this stopped at 1.044. So it's a little on the sweet side. A lot on the sweet side. But it is 13.5% alcohol. So that helps to balance it out a little bit. Time for the short sip. Initial impression, this is really good.
Yeah.
It's not as sweet as I thought it was going to be.
Nope. The first thing I got on that short sip to acclimate me was the lemon, actually.
Yeah, the acidity and astringency of the lemon really did cut that sugar. It really did.
Yeah.
Now, something of note. In the past couple of weeks, Derek and I have actually completely cut out adding sugar and salt in our diet. We don't put it in anything. We've stopped a lot of changes. That's its other channel, but just suffice to say that sweet things should probably taste really, really sweet to us right now, and this does not taste overly sweet to me. I like it so far, which I was hoping I would. I kind of made this to like it. Long sip. Now, in the long sip, you let it stay in your mouth for a few seconds and kind of flow everywhere and hit all of your taste buds so you can get the taste of it.
If you were watching my face, which I really hope you weren't, but if you were, I tend to kind of make a chewing motion.
She learned that from whiskey.
To coat my palate thoroughly. Now, with this, I find it really interesting, is we take that first sip to acclimate our palate primarily to the alcohol, the punch, the impact that alcohol can have on your palate.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, it seemed like I was acclimating myself to the lemon, because when I had the second longer sip, I didn't have that first punch of lemon that I did on my initial first sip. So I'm thinking the short sip, first sip, whatever you want to call it, is to acclimate you to all things, perhaps.
Yeah, because that way you don't shock the system.
Right. So the first impression was much more impactful and on the verge of being discordant. Where now, it's a nice flow of flavors, and there's no like jarring bits that I was getting from that first sip, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, absolutely. My short sip was very flavorful, very powerful, like she's saying. I got the lemony hit. I got even like just the tiniest bit of orange from the orange blossom honey. Then it turned into the raisin flavor, which I actually like the flavor of raisins, so that works for me. With the honey, it was really amazing. The long sip, I got something a little different. I almost got a little bit of a clove flavor. Not a lot, just a little bit.
Yeah.
And I did get that tiny, bitter honey note at the back of my throat. Now, don't read too much into that. That I get with any natural mead product.
That's just his reaction to fermented honey.
Right. It's just what I taste and how I'm describing it. This one, I mean, minor amount. It was not a strong bitter note at all. Usually my traditionals, I taste it more. This is comparable to a traditional in flavor, a little bit more flavor than a traditional, but the bitterness was very minimal. But I did detect it. It's there. But what interested me was the clove note. There's no clove in this.
And that is interesting to me as well, because I took that next long sip. I took two. And I was trying to gather my thoughts of what my experience was, and there was an end note that I was attributing to maybe caramel, but that wasn't right. And I was like, oh, what? And then he said clove, and I'm like, yeah, it seems...
I'm getting it in the smell now, too.
Like it's spiced.
Yeah, it does have just the slightest hint of a spice to it, and I'm attributing that to the honey.
And when I drink this, I get the citrus notes, and I want to say that it's lemon, but I really do think it's a combination of the lemon peel plus the essence that we get from the orange blossom honey. Yeah. Combining, this is citrus, but not a specific type of citrus.
Because a lot of time when you have clove, you do have citrus with it.
And then...
So I wonder if we're associating it that way.
That moves into the tactile sensation of the beverage, and it is a little bit coating.
Velvety.
Yes, velvety is a great word for it. It's not like sticking and coating.
Oh no, it's not like, cloying.
Oh.
It's viscous. It feels thick in the mouth. It's not actually at all. I mean, you can see it. It's totally liquidy.
But it has a lovely tactile sensation.
It's very coating in the mouth. Really nice.
Then on the exhale and the finish, I'm getting that raisin.
Yep.
And then after that, I'm getting that spice note.
Yep. I get it in the middle and on the finish, just
really
like she did.
Interesting. And he said clove, and I could see why that was the particular spice he was putting a word to, because you almost get that kind of clove sensation on your tongue too. But where I would want to say that the citrus note was lemon, but it's more just citrus.
Yeah.
The clove note is more than clove; it's spice.
Yeah, like this feels more spiced than say a traditional, but much less spiced than say my spiced metheglin. That's the easiest way to describe it. It falls somewhere between, more on the traditional side. It's not heavy. Like many people might drink this and go, I don't even know what you're talking about.
And I think we're getting the spice notes from something Brian said, is that your brain creates these patterns and says, well, if you have citrus and you have honey, then there's probably spice in there somewhere. Mm-hmm. And then if you're getting some of that raisin, then you might start thinking baked goods or cookies or something. And so, there's going to be spice. And so your brain just fills in that Gestalt theory thing. And it's like, okay, we're going to put some spice in there for you.
Taste is so subjective. Like what you had to eat that day can affect the way you taste something, especially when you're talking very subtle flavors and you're trying to explore something like this. So taste it 2 or 3 different times and you might get slightly different things. You might really love it one time and go, it's okay. What was I thinking that other time? It's all right, because your brain is going to interpret those flavors as from memories, from other things that you've had, and try to associate. So that's possibly what's happening here. Yeah. We've had enough metheglins in the last month or two that, boom, we're associating that together with orange or lemon with the clove. However, I think this is great.
I'm really enjoying it. I would say because of the associations that my brain is creating with the different flavor profiles that I'm getting from this, that I would want to reserve it for the holidays or the fall or sometime when I want to evoke those feelings and memories.
So, would it be something that we could cook with? I could marinate pork in this. I could see that.
I could see using this as a replacement for like a liqueur when you want to make a baked good and soak it in
You think it's that sweet, huh?
Well,
or like rum.
Flavor profile, it has that unique that I think it would be really nice with baked goods. So soaking a baked good with this I think would be nice.
I think almost anything sweet this would go nicely with. Like I said, marinating pork in this just sounds interesting to me.
Sure, and then when you cook the pork, you can do like a fruit stuffing with it or something, and that would be
raisins.
Yeah.
That's kind of where I would go for cooking with it. But then again, you can use it like a white wine in almost anything. So because it is kind of a neutralish flavor. Don't get hung up on the citrus thing.
Yeah.
It's more neutral. As far as food pairing, oh man, you could drink this with almost anything you drink a white wine with. It's a little on the sweeter side, so maybe more towards the dessert or towards, like that stuffed pork chop with apples in it or something. This would be great with desserts.
Any poultry.
Awesome. Yeah, any poultry.
Turkey, chicken, pheasant.
It'd be great to have with Thanksgiving dinner.
Yep.
As far as drinking this alone, abso-freaking-lutely. There's no way I couldn't just pour this in a glass and drink it. This is just awesome. I'm very happy because I made it to be that. Now, the big question, does this taste the way the thing I wanted it to taste like? Like the blackcurrant black sack mead. This was supposed to mimic the black sack mead that we made a while back. That ended up being kind of a crazy brew because it stalled and then we did all kinds of crazy stuff. But I was hoping that the raisins would mimic the blackcurrant flavor. I can't say it did.
But I feel like it's a little bit in that direction.
It's in that direction, definitely, but it doesn't quite have the strength of flavor that one has. Don't get me wrong, this is good. This is really good, but it's not that. But that was also a fortified mead. All this. Yeah. So there's so much more there. To me, that's not a true mead anymore because I had to fortify it to change it. This is a real mead. I'm very pleased. It's not exactly where I thought it might be, but it's very close to what I wanted. So I'm actually really pleased with it. Guess what time it is? It's numbers time.
Numbers.
I have my score. And I have an explanation afterwards for what I'd do differently. Which just gave away part of my score.
Okay.
1, 2, 3,
7.
9. Ooh, okay, you were lower. You get to go first.
I chose 7, not because there's anything I'd want to change with this. It's a very pleasant, very nice, very comforting beverage. It's just...
not your wheelhouse.
Not my wheelhouse, yeah. It's like, oh, that's good.
I kind of knew that was
and
coming.
That's pretty much it.
For me, this is my wheelhouse. This is my flavor profile. This is my style of mead. The only thing that I would change at this point is I actually would probably use just a touch less honey, like a 1/4 pound. I want this a little less sweet. It's just a little too sweet right now, which, how often do you hear me say that? But it is just a little bit too sweet.
You probably will be hearing that more often, and we're taking that into consideration with the brews we make here forward. We are going to change, which might be helpful for many of you that have been looking for the drier meads, to try to reach a drier end point. We're also going to be experimenting with many different gifts that we've received for Christmas, and we'll be sharing those with you too. So there's lots of cool, exciting new avenues that are going to be explored.
Oh, absolutely.
In year 2021.
So much new stuff that we're going to be doing on the channel this year. Lots and lots of cool stuff. I hope you guys love it as much as we look forward to doing it. But if you like this video, look up. There's more. You should watch that too.